Hi friends. I know there is a flood of darkness and turmoil in our world and on our feeds right now. So I think it's important to use our voice for those issues, but I think it's also important to use and continue to use our voices to tell our own stories because we're storytelling animals. This is where we learn, and this is how we connect in a big way. So I want to share a story today, and it's solely personal, like it doesn't have cultural relevance or significance, I wouldn't say. But yeah, and I'm acknowledging that I'm coming from like a somewhat privileged position when I tell this, just like in terms of actually even being able to save for what I'm about to talk about. But I still want to tell it just for the sake of truth and the sake of my truth and the sake of connecting with you all in some way. So thank you for listening. If you do, stick around. I wrote this, so I'm just gonna read it. Yeah, I've never done this type of video before, so we'll see. Today, right now, I would have been in surgery for a long-anticipated breast augmentation. I saved the money, put it all down, attended my pre-op appointment, chose my size and style, picked up my pain medication and antibiotics for post-op, scheduled my post-op appointment. Everything was in line, finally. And it wasn't until everything was in line, it wasn't until what I had wanted for all these years was right in front of me that I gained clarity. About a month prior, I had been feeling a grief arising from my natural-born body. I was grieving my natural-born body, and I figured that was normal. So I sat with it and allowed that feeling its space. As surgery day drew closer, however, the grief turned into remorse and sorrow and guilt and fear. I was preemptively missing my small breasts and ironically loving them more and more every day that passed. This feeling was new to me. I had read about the health risks before, but a week leading up to surgery, my doubts ramped up. I was all of a sudden asking myself, for what? You want bigger breasts and are willing to put your health at stake. For what? And I'm not hating on people with implants. This is an entirely personal decision, and these are simply risks, not certainties. But I had to ask myself if I was willing to risk uncertainty of my health for beauty, which in my mind would lead to greater confidence. 4 nights before the surgery, all these years of wanting to change my body came to its head, and I broke. It was 2 a.m, my chest was tight, and I grabbed my phone to look through teary eyes at small-breasted models and dancers and actresses I've always found so beautiful. I wept that I could never see myself like that. Why can't I see myself like that? I pled in my head. I then looked at pictures of myself that I've seen so many times, but now with new eyes. All I saw were small breasts, not breasts that were too small or that needed to be bigger, that were inherently less attractive because of their size, or that were lacking in any way, just breasts that happened to be small. I felt a golden yellow light wash over me, and I was flooded with this overwhelming, enthusiastic adoration for them that I've never felt before. I imagined myself at Miami parties wearing sexy triangle bralettes and on Ibiza beaches wearing skimpy swimsuits, at festivals wearing nothing on top but pasties. These have historically been scenarios that triggered the deepest insecurities in me. They were previously environments that I enjoyed only as much as I was able to shake the obsessive comparisons to bigger-breasted women. What has been my hang-up with breasts? Femininity, sensuality, these are energies that could never be quantified. I've written entire poems and essays on this, but I'm often speaking to myself in my writing too. Breasts are not sexual by nature, but we can be connected to our sexuality through our bodies. My breasts were an area I completely disconnected from. I didn't find them sexy. I didn't feel sensual when they were exposed or touched. And while I am now beginning to connect with my sexuality through them, I have to remember that no part of me is a sexual object. Beauty is not objective, and I will not be objectified, especially not by myself. And let me be clear, I am not saying that people with implants have objectified themselves or have succumbed to objectification from outside forces. This decision could entirely be one of self-awareness and empowerment. I am only speaking for myself when I say there was more work to be done underneath that implants weren't going to fix. Anyway, I didn't get much sleep that night, but the next morning I called the surgeon's office to cancel my appointment. I felt like I dodged a bullet and like I honored my body. The night after canceling the appointment, I slept soundly for the first night in a week and had a dream that I saw myself in a bathroom. I was glowing, eye-catching. I approached myself as myself and started flirting with myself. I touched her hair and her face and gazed into her eyes. I moved in for a kiss and started making out with myself. I ended up on the floor of this bathroom, on top of what I saw as a beautiful woman. I was looking right at her, caught up in this loving embrace. I couldn't get enough of her. I woke up and was sure of the dream's symbolism. I felt my subconscious fall in love with myself, not in an egoic way, in a really pure, soulful way, in a remembering kind of way. My breasts weren't a part of that dream, and they aren't a part of my waking dream anymore. Immediately after canceling my surgery, I felt a wave of relief and wrote a poem that I would like to end with. It doesn't have a title. To the body I've spent most of my life wanting to change, to the body I was willing to put thousands of dollars forth to do so, to the body I signed off on countless health risks to enhance, I take it all back. I remember looking at you naked in the mirror, only 6 years old, fantasizing about growing plump breasts when you grew older. I remember crying in high school when they didn't come. I know I've compared you at every turn, every glance at every woman's body I've analyzed and sized you up against, and that isn't fair. You are perfect. You are soft and strong and beautiful and healthy, and I owe you so much. If not mere acceptance. I'm sorry I've used so much of your own energy against you. Please forgive me. I love you and promise to act lovingly towards you. This will be a practice, but to one I am devoted. Thank you all for listening. Much, much love. Thank your bodies today. Love your bodies today. Ciao.